Your dog is sitting outside the bathroom door right now. It's been there since the moment you closed it. It wasn't startled by anything. It isn't in distress. It simply tracked you to the door, sat down, and decided that this, the hallway, 3 feet from a closed door, is exactly where it needs to be. Most people land on one of two explanations. The dog is anxious, or the dog just really loves you. Both of these answers are real. Neither of them is actually what's happening, because the researchers who have spent the last 2 decades studying this behavior have ended up with a description that sounds almost nothing like either one. And once you hear it, that dog outside your door starts to look completely different. Dogs who follow their owners room to room have a name in the scientific literature: Velcro dogs. And the first instinct is to hear that as a diagnosis, that something went a little sideways developmentally, and this is the result. In 2013, a team at the Clever Dog Lab in Vienna designed a deceptively simple experiment. They gave dogs a food dispensing puzzle they couldn't open on their own, and changed one variable: whether the owner was present in the room. When the owner was there, the dog stayed with the puzzle longer. They explored it, kept trying, stayed invested in something that wasn't paying off. When the owner left, they disengaged. Then the researchers tried something else. They had an unfamiliar person sit in the room instead, just to see if any human presence produced the same effect. It didn't. A stranger provided nothing. The effect was entirely, specifically tied to the owner. What this tells us, and this is the reframe, is that your dog isn't following you because it can't manage without you. It's following you because with you around, it actually feels more capable. Researchers call it the secure base effect. Your dog uses your presence the way a small child uses a parent at the edge of a playground, not as a crutch, but as a reference point that makes the rest of the world feel navigable. The dog outside your bathroom door isn't waiting because it's fragile, it's waiting because with you on the other side, it's ready. And something worth noting, from that same study, dogs who showed no separation anxiety at all still pulled back when the owner left. The secure base effect isn't a symptom of an anxious dog. It showed up in virtually all of them. There's a second thing happening underneath the following, and it explains the physical mechanics of it in a way that's hard to unsee once you know it. When dogs encounter something unfamiliar, an unexpected sound, an object that appeared overnight, a stranger at the door, there's a behavior that happens automatically. They look back at you. Researchers at the University of Milan studied this directly. They used a fan covered in green streamers and watched what 75 dogs did when they saw it. 83% of them, after looking at the fan, turned to look at their owner. And then, this is the part that matters, they adjusted what they did next based entirely on what the owner's face was communicating. Positive expression, the dog moved toward it. Negative, it moved away. Animal cognition researchers call this referential looking. The dog is using you as a live source of information about the world it's trying to make sense of. A companion study from the same group found something else. Dogs don't just look, they actually change their behavior based on the emotional message they receive. The two findings come from 2 separate papers, which makes them more compelling together, not less. Now think about what referential looking requires physically. To consult you, the dog has to be able to see you, which means all the room-to-room shadowing, all the presence at every doorway, part of what's happening is positioning. Your dog is maintaining continuous visual access to its primary information source. Every time your dog gets up because you moved rooms, that's not clinginess at work. That's keeping the consultation available for when something comes up. The following is about staying connected, not about need. In households with more than one person, there's almost always one person the dog follows more. The one who works from home, the one who reaches for the lead, the one who most reliably predicts something worth paying attention to. Research on how dogs track human behavior suggests this isn't sentimental preference. Dogs orient toward whoever is the most consistent source of events that matter to them. Who opens the fridge? Who reaches for the coat? Whose movement most often turns into something interesting. When you walk from the kitchen to the hallway, your dog isn't just tracking your body, it's tracking the odds that something relevant is about to happen. In unfamiliar spaces, that tracking takes a more visible form. A 2024 study from the Clever Dog Lab found that dogs will copy their caregivers' unnecessary steps. Steps they already know aren't the most efficient, rather than take a shorter path on their own. Mackey and Huber found this even held true for dogs that already had prior experience with the task. When the environment is new and the rules aren't clear, the strategy is to stay close and do what the person who knows does. Following, in that context, is intelligent uncertainty management, closer to a navigation strategy than anything resembling submission. Here's what none of this actually is: accidental. In 2017, researchers at Princeton identified structural variants in 2 genes found in domestic dogs, GTF2I and GTF2IRD1. And what's remarkable about them isn't what they do in dogs, it's where else they show up. In humans, the deletion of these same genes causes something called Williams-Beuren syndrome. It's characterized by extreme sociability, a compulsive drive to approach and connect with other people, and an almost complete absence of the wariness that keeps most animals at a careful distance from strangers. It is, in clinical terms, a genetic predisposition to human connection, written into the genome. Wolves don't carry these variants, dogs do. So the impulse behind what we call Velcro behavior, the tracking, the proximity, the inability to let you disappear around a corner without following, isn't primarily about how the dog was raised or what its early weeks looked like, though those things matter too. At a measurable generic level, it is a feature of what dogs are, the result of thousands of years of selection, not for hunting ability, but specifically for the drive to stay near humans and to find that nearness rewarding. Your dog is following you because something was written into it specifically so that it would. Most Velcro dogs are completely fine, but there is one distinction worth understanding because it changes what the behavior actually means. In 2006, researchers at Tufts University found something that genuinely surprised people in veterinary behavioral medicine. Dogs with clinically diagnosed separation anxiety did not spend more time near their owners at home than dogs without it. Following everywhere and separation anxiety are not the same thing. They can overlap, but following alone is not a sign of a clinical problem. The line between them is actually pretty clear once you know where to look. A Velcro dog can rest when you're home. It can be in a different room, settle after a moment, and be fine. It chooses to follow when the choice is available, but it doesn't fall apart when that choice is temporarily removed. A dog with a clinical issue can't disengage. The urgency doesn't ease when it catches up to you. The anxiety shows up even when separation is only a few seconds, and it doesn't reduce, it compounds. These are 2 different things happening in 2 different nervous systems, with different causes and different paths forward. Following is a feature of the bond. Clinical anxiety is something that needs attention. If your dog tracks your every move but sleeps quietly when you step out, you don't have a dog with a problem. You have a dog doing exactly what it was built to do. So, the next time your dog is sitting outside the bathroom door, here's what's actually happening. It has positioned itself at the point of most efficient sensory access to you. It's monitoring your movements for information about what comes next. It has spent weeks and months building a picture of you as the most reliable source of relevant information in its environment. And the compulsion it feels to stay close? That isn't a personality flaw or a developmental scar. At the genetic level, it's the same biological architecture that makes certain humans constitutionally incapable of keeping their distance from the people they're drawn to. Your dog isn't following you because something went wrong. It's following you because you are the most interesting, most useful, and most trusted thing in its world. That's not clinginess, that's the highest compliment the science of animal cognition has to offer. If this changed how you see that shadow at your heels, subscribe and leave a comment below. Does your dog follow one person in the house more than everyone else? And if you've been watching this series from the beginning, the bond behind all of this was first built thousands of years ago. Press close to a human's side at night. That was our very first video. If you haven't seen it yet, that's where the story starts.